Hello everyone, my name is Amanda and I am an occupational therapy student at the American Stroke Foundation. This video is an overview of information about caregiver respite. We will cover several aspects of respite care, including its importance, types, options for respite care providers, and things to consider when deciding what is best for you and your loved one. It is undeniable that being a caregiver is hard work and comes with a unique set of challenges that are often unanticipated prior to taking on this role. On top of those challenges, caregivers are at a higher risk for developing depression, anxiety, physical and emotional isolation, resentment, and diminished compassion, all of which can lead to caregiver burnout and serious health issues of their own. Respite is defined by Merriam-Webster Dictionary as an interval of rest or relief. In the context of being a caregiver, respite allows you to take time away from your caregiving responsibilities. It takes many forms and can take place in or out of your home. There is a lot of variety in how long it lasts as well, ranging from a few hours each week to several days at a time. Before we get any further, let's please take a moment to acknowledge that in order to provide quality care for someone else, caregivers must take care of themselves. This includes allowing yourself to have regular breaks, which is why respite care must be part of the equation if you want to continue to also provide the best care for your loved one. There are many different options for respite care depending on you and your care recipient's needs. Respite care can take place in or out of the home and can be provided formally by a medical professional, for example, or informally, such as a family member or friend helping out. In this next section, we will discuss some of the different options and important considerations to keep in mind when figuring out how to best meet your needs. There are informal and formal types of both in-home and out-of-home respite services. In-home informal care is often provided by friends, family members, or neighbors. Respite care volunteers may be available through local organizations and, while listed in the informal column on the screen, are not necessarily limited to informal in-home care. Volunteer assistance may be available in other capacities as well. Skilled home health care providers can provide more formal care as they require more specialized training, have more expertise, and can address your loved one's medical needs. Other options for in-home care include homemaker services, which can support meal preparation, shopping, and housekeeping. Finally, personal care providers can assist with daily living skills such as bathing, dressing, or feeding. If you're looking for respite care outside of your home, keep in mind that some friends, family members, or neighbors may be able and willing to help provide care for your loved one in their own homes instead of yours. If your loved one is needing more formal care, adult daycare centers can be an option. There's often flexibility in how long a person can stay for, ranging from a few hours to the entire day. Just be sure that you pick a center that meets your loved one's medical and social needs. If your loved one is a senior citizen, and you need them to stay somewhere overnight, some senior living facilities offer what's called temporary stay services. This typically allows them to access the same services as permanent residents, including meals, on-site amenities, around-the-clock staff availability, and more. If you are considering utilizing in-home respite care, here are some things you may want to consider. The comfort level of both you and your care recipient is important. Think about whether or not you will both be comfortable with having them staying elsewhere. Adjusting to a new environment can sometimes be quite difficult for care recipients, and staying home may be the better option. Your home environment may already have the equipment required to assist with your loved one's unique needs. If that equipment is essential, your decision may rely on whether or not the equipment is easy to transport and set up in a different location. In-home respite care can be a more cost-effective solution, especially if friends and family are helping out. And finally, transportation barriers for the care recipient are eliminated if they are staying in their home. If you are considering utilizing out-of-home respite care, here are some things you may want to consider. Different settings provide your loved one with an opportunity to experience new surroundings, different expectations, peer relationships, as well as cognitive and emotional stimulation. Utilizing these services also allows you, as the caregiver, to enjoy time in your own home or accomplish tasks that may be rather difficult to do otherwise. Transportation and equipment needs will certainly need to be taken into account, however. And finally, as mentioned previously, you may want to think about how well your loved one adjusts to changes or being in an unfamiliar environment. The reality of caregiving can be a tough process for families to share. Even the healthiest families can be severely stressed by ongoing care, and the division of labor is frequently lopsided. You can encourage support and participation by employing the following strategies. Talk openly and regularly. Keep your family up to date on your loved one's needs and condition. This may help your family members understand more about your vital role as caregiver. Encourage family members to evaluate what they can reasonably and honestly do. Knowing and respecting everyone's limits, including your own, can help with a more even division of labor. Recognize and express your own feelings and discuss disproportionate tasks. Ask family members directly for concrete support and specific time commitments. Consider establishing an online calendar to organize relief and confirm schedules. Use technology to bridge distances. If something needs to be discussed, utilize video conferencing software such as Zoom to hold family meetings. And finally, participate in support groups. Peer support can be invaluable, and group members may be able to provide advice and recommendations for respite care. Taking the time to find the right fit for you and your loved one's needs is essential to your peace of mind as well as your loved one's health and safety. Whether you choose to go with an independent provider or through an agency, this next section discusses some tips to help with the decision process. If you are interested in hiring an independent provider, you will want to get to know the prospective provider as well as possible before committing to the relationship. This can include conducting screenings via telephone calls and follow-up interviews in person. It's important to be specific about your loved one's needs and your expectations for meeting those needs. Be sure to ask for and check their references and qualifications and conduct a background check. Discuss charges and payments for services. Finally, everything you agreed upon should be written down in the form of a contract. Another option is to select a home health agency who will send one of their respite providers to care for your loved one. While this option tends to be more expensive, agencies can be easier to use because, in addition to providing respite care, they also handle payroll and often provide substitutes for sick or absent personnel. Be sure to ask the agency if they conduct background checks, when their services are available, and if there are any specific tasks that cannot be performed by the respite provider. Finally, make sure you find out all charges associated with their services ahead of time. If you are considering respite services outside the home, request a tour for you and your loved one. When possible, visit the facility or program more than once. Be sure to observe the interactions between participants and staff, the cleanliness, and types of activities available. Ask about opportunities for social engagement and any specific activities desired by your care recipient. All of this may sound like a lot of work, but please remember that in order for you to provide the best care possible for your loved one, you need to ensure that you have a way to take a break and relieve some of the stress of caregiving. This is why it's important to plan for and even schedule your breaks. This prevents you from overlooking your own needs and gives you something to look forward to regularly. Checklists can be a helpful tool to inform respite care providers about your loved one and their needs, schedules, likes, and dislikes. Make backup plans. Always keep a list of alternate respite care providers and resources. Unplanned emergencies should not prevent you from taking care of yourself. Evaluate respite care providers often. And along those same lines, expect changes. Situations and needs change, and being able to adapt to those changes is important when navigating the life of a caregiver. Attend a support group regularly. Being able to discuss your situation with others who understand can be incredibly helpful. Here are some potential resources you can use to help locate respite care services near you. Links to the first 4 resources in the list are provided in the description below this video. The last resource on this list, healthcare professionals, is often forgotten about. However, your healthcare providers may have some helpful recommendations, especially if they've been in the area for a long time. Thank you for watching this video about respite for caregivers. Here are my references in case you would like to learn more.